So, with 196 days until we're off to Africa, I wanted to share a little bit more about the project. And the reason for that is because this project is kind of what I needed 3 or 4 years ago. So, some of you may know I was doing endurance events probably since 2021, where I started doing things like the Three Peaks or the Three Peak Challenge in the UK, but with a tree on my back. And the whole idea of it was to push myself emotionally, mentally, physically past where I thought I was the year before, right? So that included the Three Peaks, like I said, that included 300k in a day on a bike. And then to top it all off in 2023, 2024, one of the two, I came across the Namibian Desert Dash, which was 400k on a bike, 24 hours through the Namibian desert. And the training and the journey to become the person that could achieve that broke me open into a way that I actually wasn't prepared for. And what I mean by that is I thought I had trained enough. I thought I was ready to take that on until I got to Africa, until I actually begun the race. And what I wasn't prepared for was who I would have to reinvent myself to become during that race. What I wasn't prepared for was how I had to let go of what I thought was going to get me through it. I had this plan, nutritional guides, all of this stuff. I thought I was ready, but 84 miles into the race, all of that fell apart. And it's like, who's the guy? Was it Mike Tyson? Everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. It's like I had coping mechanisms, I had tooling, I had ways of dealing with it, but I wasn't ready for what it demanded of me. And in that desert throughout the night, I had to reinvent the way I did things. I had to redo challenges. I had to redo endurance because otherwise I just wouldn't have got through it. And there's two very significant moments that I could guarantee you were the only reason I think I completed the dash. Firstly, it was when I rolled into a water station at about 91 miles, and I was ready to scrap, by the way. Complete transparency. I was like, I'm done. This is me out. And I rolled in, and one of the people behind the aid station, she was like, how you doing? How you keeping? Handed me some watermelon. I started eating. I said, I'm done. That's me out. And she said, well, you gave it your best and all this stuff. And I was like, kind of like living with that regret and that defeat in my mind. And I looked off to my left, and there was a guy called Roland who I'd seen at the start of the race in the day before. And we kind of chatted a little bit and all of this good stuff. And I said, oh, Roland, like he was asleep. And I said, oh, Roland, I like went to wake him up. I think if he didn't wake up, it was cool. But if he did, we'd have a chat. And so I said, oh, Roland, like, what are you doing here? And he was like, oh, man, I've been here for 2 hours. I'm done. Like, my body's cooked. It was like 36 degrees. It was hot. He said, like, I'm done. And we were chatting for a minute or two. And I said to him, Roland, man, like, come on, let's finish this. Let's go and get this done together. And he looked at me and he was like, man, you're crazy. And I was like, hey, come on, man. Let's just see how far we go. Let's just get to the halfway point. It's like, I don't know, it's like 100k away or something. And before I knew it, we both picked our bikes up, fueled our water bottles, fueled up some food, and we left. And soon came the halfway point, and we rolled through there. And the whole night, just chatting, laughing, joking, sharing stories, swapping stories of the UK, swapping stories of South Africa or Africa, where he lives. And what it stood out to me is that, yes, you can do tough things in isolation, but you cannot do it all on your own. You need a crew. You need someone around you that understands and sees the struggle and sits with you through it. You need somebody that can witness how hard you're working and observe the progression that you make off the back of that. And this brings me on to the second most pivotal point of this ride. The next morning, when we'd seen sunrise in, we're still riding, we were about 16 hours in. It's hot. It's the next day at this point. We're 16 hours in, it's hot. Morning's broken. And the reason this moment's so significant is who Roland and I became in this moment, right? We went from a duo supporting each other to observing a fellow cyclist who was about to scrap. She had her phone in the hand. Immediately, I was like, Roland, something's obviously not right. She got a phone in the hand. Most people just... So we slowed down and we said, how you doing? Everything okay? Do you need food, water, a puncture, whatever? What do you need? She said, I'm done. I'm ringing my support vehicle and I'm going to scrap. And I just asked her one question. I said, do you want to cross the finish line? And she was like, well, of course. And I said, well, there's a water station. There's a water station on the other side of this climb. And we were just about to do like this 10K uphill, just rolling uphill. And then you drop down into a valley where you go into the water station. I said, well, at least let's get you to that. And that could be your finish line. Or let's just get you there. And without hesitating, she was like, let's go. And so then Roland and I took it in turns to just push and nudge and support the small of her back, the lower of her back. She cycled, and Roland and I just kind of almost danced in and out of supporting her. What was so amazing about it is that although we were pushing and providing some of the drive, she just burst into this beauty of positive affirmations and mindset, and how much she's grown throughout the night and how much this race meant to her, and all of these kind of like encouraging words. And it got me really, really thinking. And this is the challenge. This is why I'm building this project, is because when you realize two things, you cannot do this all on your own, but you need balance of perspective, right? So you need men and women, old and young, whatever. You need a balance of perspective. You need somebody that sees things similarly to you, but also offers a nuance, a difference, a point of reference, a change. And in this moment, the thing that makes this whole thing for me so incredible is, without Roland being at that 90 or 85 mile water point, I wouldn't have been able to get to the halfway point, and I wouldn't have been able to get to witness the beauty that we helped with that individual the next day. We wouldn't have had that moment of bonding throughout the night and the ride. And then we wouldn't have been there to receive the blessing of that human by able to supporting her up the hill. And these moments are going to be different next time. But these are the moments that I will forever think about. And Roland's, over the last 2 or 3 years, Roland's texted me maybe 3 times. Hey man, I'm thinking about how much we achieved that day, and I'm proud of us. And I want this feeling, man, to be like felt for a lot of people of, I did that. Look who I became, and they're proud of it. They're proud of who they became in the desert. They're proud of who they become in those moments. That's what this project's really about. It's people curious of who they want to become. God bless you. Thank you for watching. God bless. See you soon. 196 days. Let's get it.